Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Today, I am going to talk about Shoshin, sometimes said Shoshin. And it is a Japanese Zen Buddhist concept, which means beginner's mind. And it's actually a very important concept really throughout Buddhism, although the Zen Buddhists focus on it and directly discuss it as something called beginner's mind. But in general, most Buddhist traditions do bring in this element of openness and wonder and letting go of preconceived notions, which can be super helpful. So as you join on, say hello. And for those of you who've been here before, you'll know the drill. If you're watching me on YouTube, I can see your name and your comment. If you're watching from Facebook, I won't be able to see your name unless you give StreamYard permission or put your name in the comment. That works just fine. So for those of you watching the replay and for people on YouTube who may not know me, my name is Barbara Heffernan, and I have been a Buddhist I've been meditating for almost 30 years. I began about 29 years ago, and I became Buddhist pretty seriously about 20 years ago. And I'm also a psychotherapist and an online coach, and my specialties are anxiety and trauma. And I kind of bring all of that together with Buddhism, mindfulness meditation, and information on recovery to try to help people live more joyful lives. So if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. It's a big help. And either Facebook or YouTube, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It's always very helpful and good to get feedback. And please comment along if you're watching the replay and you make a comment. I will definitely check in and respond in the next day or so. So I'm seeing Sheila, Janet, hi, Mohammed. Oh, you're joining from Gaza. That's terrific. Joanne, Julia. I do have a very international audience, both on Facebook and YouTube, and I feel like it brings such richness to our discussions. So welcome to everybody. So I have recommended for today's video that you bring with you an object that you find beautiful, an object that you find unattractive, and an object that you are neutral towards. So if you've already done that, great. If you haven't and you want to just take a second, it really could be anything for something beautiful. It could be a piece of jewelry. I will show you. I actually went out to my garden today and cut a few flowers because I love flowers. And most of these are from the butterfly bush, but I left plenty for the butterflies. And I did see a monarch today, which was beautiful and wonderful. Monarchs are an endangered species. And I tried to plant some milkweed so that the caterpillars could grow. And then I have butterfly bushes for the monarchs, and it does attract quite a few of them. So that's kind of fun. And all of these things, when we approach them with beginner's mind, it's like approaching something with a child's sense of wonder and awe and openness. And if you can picture, a 2.5-year-old child looking at butterflies on a flower, and then maybe looking at the ants crawling around in the ground, and that child might have just as much wonder and awe looking at the ants as it does looking at the butterfly. So without preconceived notions, we are so much more open to the wonder that's around us every day. So where shall we start? If you have not brought in your objects, no problem. You can go get them, or you can bring something to mind. You can work with this either way. Oh, so this is what I brought for beautiful. For neutral, I actually had a hard time, and that is very telling because as humans, we have judgments all the time. We judge everything, and we judge things in such an automatic way that we're not even aware of it. So to find something around me that I was neutral about was like, I have an opinion about almost everything. But came across my handy stapler, pretty neutral about this. So that was my neutral object. And then for ugly, I picked this pair of scissors since I'm in my office. I had office implements, and I'm not a fan of this design. So those are the objects I picked. You can post, let us all know what objects you brought to do this meditation. And again, as I go through this, if you have questions, please ask. comment. Let me know how it's going for you. I'm also curious whether this notion of beginner's mind is relatively new to you, or is it something that you've worked with before? So to start, what I would like to do to start is really to bring us into a meditative state. So I'm sitting on my meditation cushion, but you can also do this at your desk chair, on your bed, wherever you happen to be in these days of mostly social isolation, at least here in the US, and I know in many countries still across the continent. But wherever you happen to be, you can do these exercises. If you happen to be on a cushion, just take your posture. I have my legs crossed under me. Pull up from the top crown of your head as if there's a string pulling your spine straight. That helps us sit in a relaxed but alert and open position. This meditation is largely about openness. So take a moment to really settle in. And take a deep breath. Really feel the breath entering your body, almost like a drink of water. Like the breath coming in can be such a relaxing and opening feeling. So take a deep breath in and a nice slow exhale. And just do that a few times. And Kayam, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And no problem, you're right on time. I just talked a little bit about Shoshin, and we're going to walk through a meditation, and then we will do some Q&A. So I'm just going to have us sit for a couple of minutes. I'm going to ring the gong. What I would like to ask you to do is to just lower your gaze a few feet in front of you. If you'd like to close your eyes, that's fine. And bring your attention as fully as you can to the breath moving through your body. And then as your mind wanders, just bring it back to the breath. Again, as your mind wanders, bring your attention back to your breath. And just let it flow for just a few minutes, just about 3 minutes. So taking your posture, lowering your gaze or closing your eyes, your attention on your breath. And just taking a moment to be fully present where you are. Notice whatever feelings you're having in your body, whatever physical feelings or emotional. And bring your attention back to your breath. If thoughts come up, you can let them just drift away and return to the breath. And then staying with as much attention on your breath as you can, bring whatever object you find beautiful into your line of sight. So just put the object that you find beautiful in front of you. And put about 50% of your concentration on your breath, the same way we were just doing. And as any thoughts come into your mind, let them float away and return to the breath. And as you're doing that, you can bring the other 50% of your attention to what you're looking at. And just take a few moments to really, really, really bring in the sight with openness and non-judgment. Being aware of your breath moving in and out of your body, with your eyes gently resting on the chosen object. And any thoughts about it, just let them go and return to your breath and to what you see. As your breath moves in and out of your body, awareness of what you are seeing. You could bring in awareness of any other senses as well. Smell, touch. And any judgments or thoughts, just feel them drift as if they're in a stream and they drift away. And see if you can look at the object of concentration as if you've never seen it before. Totally new as this moment is, this moment has never happened before. And then returning your concentration back to your breath. And just notice if anything has shifted for you. And if you're ready to come back to the video and back to the group, please let me know what you experienced, how that felt, whether you were noticing things you haven't noticed before, whether it was possible to let go of preconceived notions and judgments. I'm curious to know how you experienced those moments of silent concentration on an object that you feel is beautiful. So I will look for your comments. And welcome to those of you who've joined a little bit later. We're just doing a meditation on Shoshin, beginner's mind. And really practicing with opening our minds and letting go of judgments and grasping and pushing away and aversion and all of those things that cause us pain on a regular basis. Kayam, I hope I'm saying your name right, says, I feel present. Awesome. I hope feeling present feels good and grounding to you. Janet, more focused with calmness. Teresa, deep sense of calm and peace. Saw deeper into the object, became more rich. Yes. Yes, there's another meditation practice that I've done called enriching presence, which is partly this beginner's mind and really sensing the kind of whole atmosphere of the things around us. So terrific. So maintaining that same sense of presence and calm, and if you need to take a couple of moments to take a couple more deep breaths, I'll have a sip of water. And I'd like you to now bring in front of you the object that you find unattractive. And as I showed people earlier, this is the one I picked up, I found in my office. And just take that object that you find unattractive and put that object in front of you. And again, just bringing your attention to your breath and to this very moment. Oh, terrific, terrific. I'm seeing some comments here. Sheila shared her object was her cat. Awesome. I feel like I saw his hair and fur in a different way, more closely, feel calmer. Terrific. Margaret, so relaxing, almost dozed off. The sensation of releasing. Great, great. And my object was a photo of a dance event. I felt like I was back there again, happy, no fear or regrets. Beautiful, beautiful. So take this object that you find unattractive, and you might have found something that's like, this is probably, when I picked it up, it was unattractive. Now it's already moved to neutral to me. So you might have something that's I could probably look at my computer cords that are on the floor over there. Those are pretty unattractive. So bring to mind the object that's unattractive. And we're going to do the same exercise a little bit shorter. But as you repeat these exercises for yourself, or you practice with these techniques, you can expand the time as you see fit. I'd suggest probably 5 minutes per object, and really sort of breathing in the sense of that object and focusing on it and letting go of judgment. So the object you find unattractive, bring it in front of you, lower your gaze to it, bring your attention back to your breath. And again, as your mind wanders, which it will, just bring your attention back to your breath and have your gaze rest lightly on this new object. And with about 50% of your attention on your breath and about 50% of your attention on the object, just sit with awareness, letting your thoughts drift away, letting your judgments drift away. And you're looking at this object with beginner's mind, completely open, no goal, nothing you're trying to achieve. Just bringing your attention to the breath and to the object. And keeping your attention on your breath as much as possible, I'd like to ask you to put that object down and pick up the object that you chose that you feel neutral about. And just the same exercise, just breathe in, focus on your breath with about 50% of your concentration, and the rest of your concentration on your senses, particularly a soft gaze on the object. And then you can gently place the object down and just return to your meditation stance, your gaze lowered or your eyes closed, bringing your attention to your breath. Letting your thoughts go and experiencing a sense of openness. An openness to this very moment. An openness to how you're feeling right now. An openness to anything you can see or hear or smell. And as I ring the gong, just retain the openness as much as you can, letting in the sound of the gong, listening till the very last moment you can hear it. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes and coming back to the group. And again, if you're willing to share what the experience was like for you, what your objects were, how you feel now, what, if anything, has shifted for you. And I will take a look at your comments. I have a few more things I just want to say about beginner's mind and the concept of Shoshin. And really, our minds are association machines, right? Our minds are very attached to making associations between things. And this is part of learning, right? As we grow up and we learn and we associate, we connect all sorts of things. And it is part of functioning in the world and it's part of learning. But it also can make our notions and our concepts more and more and more closed and rigid. And there has actually been research done that as somebody becomes an expert in an area, their perspective narrows and they become much more unwilling to bring in new information. So it really is a risk as we become experts of closing our minds instead of further opening them and staying in the wonder and awe. So the practice of Shoshin is to really open and see things for the first time. See if we can experience this very moment without all sorts of associations to the past and projections into the future. So let's take a look here. Teresa. Okay, so Teresa ended up feeling more neutral to all three objects. And the term for that, which is a very important term in Buddhism, is equanimity. So as we develop equanimity, we learned that our good moods, sure, we love them and we enjoy them, but we know they're not going to last forever. And then our bad moods, they're horrible, we don't like them, but we know they're not going to last forever. So we become more equanimous. Not sure I got that word right, but we develop more equanimity. And it's not boring. It doesn't mean we end up being neutral to everything, because no, we still, if I get to choose, I'm still going to look at my flowers more than I'm going to look at my scissors. So we still enjoy things, but we lose some of that cycling. So yes, open mind. We do. It's like the child I talked about in the beginning who sees the butterfly and loves the butterfly, but then also sees the ants and is fascinated. And maybe the ants are carrying another bug that they've killed, and they're all bringing it to their home and going down their little hole, and it's dirty, and and kids are just as fascinated. So, or find a something that's decomposing, or an animal that's died that's decomposing, or mushrooms, or a tree trunk, or whatever. And you can have as much excitement and awe and wonder over the things that we might consider not so attractive, right? And so, yes, developing equanimity. An old remote control as an unattractive object, yeah, and a neutral ballpoint pen. And then you saw them in a different light. Okay, interesting. Okay, yes, and definitely felt more present, Joanne. And then Sheila, her phone, ugly, and remote control, neutral, interesting. And you got very judgmental about the objects. So that's interesting to observe, right? And very irritated. Yeah, so it's interesting. We want things to be beautiful. We want to have pleasure all the time, and we can't. And that is actually one of the causes of our pain. If we're a little bit more neutral about things, a little bit more neutral about, all right, not everything's beautiful in the world, right? Then that's easy. But it is, our judgment mind is so fast and so hard to detach from. Great, terrific. All right, well, thank you guys for staying through this. I know that I ran over a little bit. I'm trying to think if there was anything else to talk about, but one exercise with this is that sometimes I did not actually choose an object that had a lot of history with it. But if any of you did choose an object that had a lot of history with it, there would have been all of those attachments, and seeing it fresh and new and in this moment could be a very useful exercise for separating from all of that kind of judgment mind stuff. So, and then also comparison, right? Like, we compare things all the time. We're always comparing. And that's such a painful state to be in for the most part, because we don't generally feel better after we are comparing ourselves to others, or this thing to that thing, or whatever. It is not usually a state that makes us happy. So for me, joy is very much about the wonder and the awe and the ability to be in this moment alone, open to possibility, open to what might happen. So I'm hoping you all enjoyed this talk today, and I will see you. I'm actually going to be away next week, so I'm not going to be doing a video next Tuesday, but I will be back in 2 weeks, and there's lots of videos in the Facebook group to go over, or on my YouTube channel. So feel free to have access to both, and as you have comments or questions, please post them. I will be checking in today and tomorrow on any other comments that come through. Take care.